Excited to be out for a morning hike today. I am actually staying with my daughter again, or staying at her house so I can cat sit. And she's got some awesome trails nearby, so I'm getting out doing some training for my trail that's coming up. I hate to say it, but I'm a little winded already. I actually have not been backpacking since I injured my knee last summer. And just a whole bunch of circumstances have led me to not spend as much time on the trail as I would like. I injured my MCL ligament that kind of goes around your knee. I did that right at the end of July, about 2/3 of the way into the Tahoe Rim Trail, and had to get off trail. And I basically spent August recuperating. I had to be off my leg for quite a while. I did physical therapy and got back to work. And then by September, it was time for me to start house hunting. Andy and I have made the decision that it would be best for us to move back to Georgia. As much as we loved life in Colorado, family called, and so I started looking around for different places that we could buy, and we settled on a little town in North Georgia. And it took me, almost 3 months to find the right house. So I was looking for something that I could fix up that would make a good investment, possibly potentially be a rental. I looked at a whole bunch of houses, put offers in on several homes, and it was quite a while before I was able to lock in the one that I really liked. I ended up having to up my budget a bit, which happens frequently. I kind of hoped that I might be able to find something I could buy free and clear, but those houses were really dilapidated, unfortunately. So I had to buy something that was a little bit more expensive, but it's a good solid house, and I knew when I closed on it that it needed a ton of work. So as we began to plan the moving process, I decided, okay, since I have to leave my job at REI when we move, I'm going to dedicate a good 3 months or so to home renovations. And I did that, and the house is looking pretty good. Still have tons and tons of projects to do, but the pace has slowed down a little bit. So it's a good time to get back out on the trail, to start training and exercising and getting fit so I can go on another long distance hike. I was really hopeful that all that time doing renovations would be good for me fitness-wise, but unfortunately it wasn't a lot of cardio. I did plenty of step-ups, climbing up and down ladders, getting on the floor, crawling around, pounding on stuff, that sort of thing. So it was good for my muscles, but not so much cardio-wise, and unfortunately I have gotten a bit out of shape. Of course, age is also a factor, unfortunately. I can't stop the march of time, and I am getting older, so I have to be ever mindful of my level of fitness, of how I eat, of how much I exercise, all that good stuff. And I honestly haven't been as good as I should have been. I have about 6 weeks now until my next hike, and rededicating myself to getting back in shape so that I am not in a world of hurt when I get out on the trail. And something else that I'm keenly aware of is that I lived at 5,000 feet, and so when I was in Colorado, going off to hike a high elevation trail was really not a big deal. I am now less than 1,000 feet, and that's a big difference. I'm going to need some time to acclimate. I'm going to need to make sure that my lungs are in good shape, my lung capacity is healthy, and my heart rate's been really good, but lungs, not so much. So I'm gonna have to get out and do a lot of training hikes, a lot of exercise, and probably get on my rowing machine and do some good cardio so I can cover all those things before I start hiking. The trail I'm on this morning is fairly rocky, so it's good for practicing footwork and just adjusting the ankles and that sort of thing that gets out of shape. There is definitely a lot more shade here than I'm going to experience on the trail I'm going to, and you might have a guess by now, but I'm going to go back and do the Tahoe Rim Trail again. I'm going to go counterclockwise this time. I'm going to do the whole thing over again, starting with the bits that I missed so that I can knock those out early. And my friend Gunslinger, my hiking buddy who I did the Colorado Trail and part of the Pinhoti with, is coming with me, so it should be a real adventure to do that trail together. Nice to see a bench. Gunslayer is fresh off an adventure in New Zealand where she did a lot of hiking on the Te Aroa and a lot of just exploration. And if you want to read about that, you can see it on the trek. I'll put a link to that down in the description if you want to check it out. Based on our past hiking trips and the experience that there's a lot of pressure to get done really fast, we are both in the mindset that we just want to savor the experiences that we have. And so we are going to take our time on the Tahoe Rim Trail. It's 165 miles, and a lot of people do it in anywhere from 7 to 10 days on the short end to usually like 14 days. And I think we're probably going to give ourselves maybe 17 or 18 and include a 0 in Tahoe City, which should be a lot of fun. I loved my stop in Tahoe City last year, so it should be nice to have some time to play on the lake and just relax and enjoy that adorable little mountain town. And then we'll be on the way into Desolation Wilderness and back up to our start point. It should be a great trip. It should be nice and relaxing and just fun and a great opportunity to just really soak in some views, refresh our mindsets, and get ready for whatever's going to come next in the fall. I always have a long list of trails to hike that I keep on my phone. Every time I discover a new one, I add it. I would love to do some European trails that I've been reading a lot about lately, but I also don't want to be too far from my parents. Time with them is really precious, so I'm probably doing a lot more shorter trails that are only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 weeks to hike, and then sometime in the future I might be able to tackle some real long distance trails like the PCT. I just don't know when that's going to be. Fortunately, there are lots and lots of backpacking trails around the country and even throughout the southeast that are less than 500 miles that would make a good training hike, a good getaway, a good chance to just stretch your legs and get away from the world for a while. So I'm going to tackle some of those and then just make plans for long-term big adventures. In addition to not getting out on the trail, Andy and I have really been missing van life, and we just all those things going on in life. We haven't had the chance to get out, and there were a couple things on the van that really needed to be fixed before we could take a trip, and we finally got that taken care of. So hopefully in the next few weeks we'll also be able to do at least an overnight getaway, maybe just to a state park and do some hiking and have a good time. I have not hiked this trail before, so I'm having to kind of navigate a bit. There's a lot of turns, and I've seen a lot of people going up and coming back down the way that I was going, and I just figured out why. Because this little turn takes you downhill, kind of windy, but then also past the parking area, and you have to climb back up in the parking lot, but I'm okay with that. I am one of those people who hates doing out and back trails. I always prefer a loop so that I'm always treading new ground. And yeah, so we're doing a loop this morning. Nothing ruins a beautiful trail like teepee flowers. Please don't. I mean, really, how hard can it be to carry a plastic bag and put your teepee in it, or a little trowel and bury it? It's not hard. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have said anything about that, except it's the second piece of teepee I've seen in the last like 10 minutes. Please don't ruin the trails. Okay, that was just a little mini rant, and it is over. I know that you folks watching know all about Leave No Trace and that you're good stewards of the trail, but if you get a friend who's new to hiking, please clue them in. Map shows a little lake down there, but I don't see it. I'm getting towards the end of my hike, and if you have stayed with me this far, I'm going to give you the special chance to tell me what kind of gear you think I should test on the Tahoe Rim Trail this year. I don't plan to switch out a lot of my gear because I really do love all the things in my kit, but I know there's new things out there that I haven't tested, and I'm curious if you're curious about some particular piece of gear that you think I should add to my kit, and give it a shot and then report back and let you know what I think. If that's the case, then drop your comment down below. Let me know what that piece of gear is. Maybe add a link if you can. Let's take a look and see what might be a fun thing to test out. Maybe something that everybody's been talking about that you're just not sure if it really lives up to the hype. I will take all those comments into consideration and probably pick one or two pieces that you all would really like to learn more about and add them to my kit for the Tahoe Rim Trail. Taking something out for 2 weeks of backpacking is a really good way to find out if it works or not, and if it's better than other gear, or if it's worth the price. Should it cost more than other gear? So let me know what you think, and I will go ahead and do some research for you. Well, I found the lake, and it sounds like some really big frogs. Almost sounds like an alligator, but there's not any alligators in this part of Georgia, so I wish I could see those frogs. They're probably huge bullfrogs. They're probably awesome to see, but I'm gonna head on my way. It's been really nice to get out in the woods, even though there were no views on this one. Sometimes it's just really restorative to get out and breathe some fresh air, listen to the sounds of the birds and the frogs, and enjoy nature for a bit. When I'm done, it'll be a little over 3 miles, which is just fine. There's also a 5-mile loop, but it's getting pretty muggy this morning, so I'm glad that I only chose the 3, and I probably should have gotten out a couple hours earlier if I wanted to do the full 5, but I'm gonna be working up to that, probably get to, I don't know, 8 or 10 miles of just day hikes before I head off on the Tahoe Rim Trail, and also at least one overnight with my backpack, maybe on the Appalachian Trail, we'll see. If you enjoyed hiking with me, I hope you'll take a minute to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can also ask to be notified whenever I put out a new video. It's usually every week or so, although I'm not as consistent as I was. I used to post every Friday morning. I'm a little bit inconsistent right now, but definitely if you hit the notification bell, it'll pop up in your feed and you can see whenever I have a new video. Heading back to the car, and like I said, it's getting muggy out here. Everyone who was here when I came is gone. Yep, I'm a laggard.